as a favour, so why not?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Friday Rivals on Usman Talks United. Two new faces on the panel tonight. I've got Owen. Hi, Owen. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's been an eventful few days. It's been a sticky few days as well. But yeah, I'm looking to get stuck into it, mate. Thank you for having me on.
Very welcome. And Johnny. Johnny's a Man United fan, you might have guessed by his name. Johnny come in at very short notice, so very grateful to Johnny. We'll touch base. How are you, Johnny? You good?
I'm great, yeah. Thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
For those of you that can't tell, I think Johnny's sat in a van and he's doing this on his break at
I'm,
work,
a, I'm,
which is
a, I'm an art,
tremendous commitment.
I drive Arctics for a living. I'm in an Arctic, so can't knock the commitment.
No, absolutely not. So I'll start with you, Johnny. Obviously, last week we spoke about transfer window to date and what was to come, and Bobz refused to say Sancho was a Man United player until he saw him in a shirt, until he saw him pictured with all the PR, which is what Man United are doing particularly well at the moment. So, with regards to Sancho, your thoughts on? Are you pleased to have him? What does he bring to United? Talk to me a little bit about that.
I'm very listen. We are last year's business. I can't give the Glazers too much credit because it was last year's business. We should have had him 12 months ago. But having said that, I'm very excited as a Man United player. I've got high expectations for him. Not straight away. I'm tempering my expectations immediately because I don't want to put pressure on him. He's only 21, and despite all the the success that he's had at Dortmund, I don't want him to feel like he's under pressure. So I would implore the fan base, like, if he doesn't hit the ground running, just don't get on his back. Just let him grow organically into the team. So let him feel welcome. But I think he's going to be a great player for United. The Ollie outer in there is like, I'm concerned that he's not going to flourish at Man United. Obviously, I've been Ollie out me for over 18 months, and I just feel like is as good as he is. I don't see him taking us to a title. Not under this manager. So I am happy he's here, but I haven't got really excited about it like some people have on social media because I'm aware of the limitations of my manager. But I'm very happy he's here, and he's a great addition to the squad. It brings pace, it brings skill, creativity, goals, assists. It's a full deal. So with the right guidance, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't flourish at Man United.
I completely agree with what you said there. He is it's a strange signing for the money you've spent because you're buying a lot of potential. This guy's got the potential to be world class. It would be wrong of us to say he's world class now because for me he isn't yet, but there's no reason why he couldn't become world class. And you're quite right when you say it will come down to the regime and the game plan and what United choose to do. And I won't stress you out before you start work by getting into the Ollie situation, but I think
it's all right.
United and rival fans alike can see if you've got a manager in there that knew his onions, so to speak, United become a very dangerous proposition. And it is because I can't see a football identity on the pitch in Manchester United. It's off the cuff football, hoping that a Bruno or a Pogba can win you the game in a moment of inspiration.
This is it.
So,
This is it.
I'm a Liverpool fan, but I'm also a football fan, and I see things how they are. And he also can play right across the front line. He's actually been more effective over the years on the left-hand side for Dortmund.
Yes, this is the ironic thing, right? This, like, people don't want to hear this, right? But I say things how it is. I always call a spade, and I get a lot of shit for it. But excuse my language, but I am who I am. And end of the day, if Ole, for the people that are supporting Ole still, because obviously I'm not one of them, but if they want any chance of Ole to keep his job next year, he needs to be dropping Rashford and needs to put Sancho on the left and he should be putting Greenwood on the right. That's what he should do. But it will not. I guarantee you, when Rashford has had his operation, he'll go straight back into the team. Sancho will move to the right and Greenwood will get dropped. One of my biggest gripes with Ole is his favouritism. It's so bad. It's really, really bad. And end of the day, I understand all managers have favourites. Of course I do. But he, in my opinion, takes it to an extreme. And end of the day, I want players to be played on merit. Like, I understand if you drop a stinker, you don't have to get dropped straight again next game. But if you drop like 2 or 3 stinkers in a row, in my opinion, you should be pulled from firing line and somebody else given an opportunity. And that's just something that doesn't happen under Ole. It's one of the many reasons why I'm Ole out.
Just looking at the question that's come through from Big Ron, and good evening, Big Ron. Thanks for joining us. Sancho signing is good news. About time Dan James had a bit of competition on the wing. There's a lull in there, so I think that's tongue in cheek. Dan James' days are surely numbered, are they not? Because he's not done it, has he?
No, he's not. Listen, I give him a lot of shit on match day because it's an emotional game. But at the end of the day, he were, you know, a punt for 15 million. He's had some good games. I'm not taking all away from him, but in my opinion, I see what I'd say to like my fellow United fans is we're aspiring to catch up to Liverpool. I know you finished behind us, but I'm not delusional. I know you're better than us. Like context is key to last season, and I know you're better than us. You had a disastrous season given the catastrophic. You had catastrophic injuries, and considering you only finished 5 points behind us, that's quite astonishing by Klopp, and you have to respect him for that. So I'm very, very aware that even though we finished second, we're not the second best team in England. Okay, and with Dan James, look, we're trying to bridge the gap to you and to City. And then today I say to myself, right, is he getting into Liverpool squad or is he getting into City squad? And if the answer is no, then why is he in our squad? And I mean that respectfully. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So I ain't saying he can't have a good career somewhere, but it shouldn't be at United.
Johnny, do you think that Solskjaer signed Sancho with the thought in mind to play him on the right hand side and have him as the answer on the right? Because I think if that's his plan, I don't think that's going to work.
That's his plan. I'm telling you. Obviously, Rashford's going in for his surgery, so he's got 2 months out. So I believe he's either going to start Martial on left and Sancho on right, or he's going to start Sancho on left and Greenwood on right. What I believe, I'm trying to get into all his mind, which is quite a difficult thing to do. I think he's going to start Martial on left and Sancho on right, and then when Rashford comes back, I believe he'll find a way to drop Martial and he'll put Rashford. I got Rashford has become untouchable. Like he's undroppable. I don't know if you watched the Europa League final, where like Rashford's not had a good game for a long time. Now I appreciate he's had his injuries, but in my opinion, that's bad man management with the coaching staff and Rashford's got to take some responsibility because he's a player too. But that game, he was literally dropping a -5 out of 10. That's how bad he was. He was horrendous. And then Ollie makes his first substitution in 100 minutes. And the first substitution was, first of all, I couldn't believe Rashford stayed on that long. But then what he did was, the only two players, one player I give short time is McTominay and Greenwood. They were the only two players that could leave that field that night with any dignity and pride because they were the only two players that were performing. And he took Greenwood off. He was doing it probably a 5 out of 10, but it was better than what everyone else were doing by McTominay. And he took him off and left Rashford on. And that told me that really exposed Ollie for the degree of favouritism that he's showing Rashford. So I expect when he's had his operation, he'll find a way to get him back in the starting lineup and he won't drop him. And I'm like, eventually he'll die on that sword. That'll cost him his job.
I think you might be right. Looking at the comment just came in from Akil. Varane comments, something we spoke about before we came online. We will be aware now that Real Madrid have matched the contract that was put in front of him by Manchester United. Yeah. So salary-wise, they've matched it, which is ironic considering they've got no money, but they've found the money to do it. Does that change the position for you? Do you see him doing a Sergio Ramos and using United as a cash cow?
Just took the words out of my mouth. This feels like Sergio Ramos again in 2015. It literally now it didn't, but now it has that feel to it. And I have to look at it and say, right, why is the Champions League winner coming to Man United in the current state? Yeah, I know we finished second, but on the face of it, on the face of it, it looks good. But when you pick it apart, like it's not good. It's not. We've won nothing under. I'm not even trying to be hit like an Ollie hater. I'm trying to talk more objectively than I sometimes do. You have to, from Ramos' perspective, why like Ramos has left, so now you can be main man there. You can be star boy in defence. They've matched the money. With respect, I don't see professional players, especially to the ilk of like Varane's level, coming to play for Ole like they go play for Zidane or you go play for Conte or like these big managers that have done stuff in game. I don't see players look at these players that have got that many honours and have been to the pinnacle of football, looking at Ole and saying, I want to go play for you. Especially when you watch the football that we play. Like the football that we play is really boring predominantly. Don't get me wrong, there's been some purple patches, but more often than not, it's really boring, slow tempoed football, and I don't like it. That's another reason why I want him out. So I look at Van, I'm like, so if Florentino Perez has given you the money that you want, and Man United are not winning anything under Ole, like they're not, and we haven't up to so far, Why would you come to United? I don't understand it. I don't get why you'd come to United. Now, if you don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean I wouldn't welcome him. Of course I would. He walks straight into our defence. He's our best defender, and he's probably he's definitely top 5 centre backs in the league, definitely. So I would welcome him with open arms. But the question is he using us for a deal, or is it genuine? And I guess he'll come out and wash water. He'll come out and wash, but I hope we get him because we need him.
Just playing devil's advocate on the not winning anything under Ollie. As a Liverpool fan, we spent many years trying to rebuild what we had in the 80s and early 90s, and it was very frustrating and painful. And I don't want to say it to rub it in. It's been 8 or 9 years since United managed to pocket the big title.
Yeah.
You're in a similar position than at Liverpool, where in terms of you will look across the globe to try and find players to bring them in on the proviso that you say to that player when you sit and speak to him, you come and be the catalyst to us being reborn. You come and be the guy that changes it up, makes things different for Man United. You're not Lindelof, you're not Bailey, you're Rafael Varane. You are one of the best centre backs in the world. Manchester United is one of the biggest clubs in the world. Let's do a deal, get together and try and take this forward. That's a big appeal. To come out of your career and have somebody say he's part of the reason, like you could say about Virgil van Dijk and Alisson, he's part of the reason why Manchester United are competing again, because Rafael Varane came in and made a difference, and he would have a similar impact to Virgil van Dijk and Ruben Diaz respectively. He would be great foil for Maguire, because in recent years Ramos's legs have gone. So Ramos is your first ball winner, and Maguire picks up bits and pieces. Varane picks up second ball and bits and pieces, and he would do that for United. I'm not convinced this is a done deal. Real Madrid are in an awful mess at the moment. He just might fancy going somewhere where there's
He might do. Look, of the two, like the problem I have with Varane, like to say I have a problem with Varane sounds a bit weird. In terms of the partnership, Harry Maguire is too nice. He's too nice. He's not a Roy Keane, like he's not a little bull. He's too nice. He doesn't bully defenders. And Varane's too nice too. Varane wasn't the shithouse between him and Ramos. Ramos was. And I don't see how, like, I ain't saying it can't work, but I want a little shit in the middle of defense. I want somebody that's going to take someone's ball and their legs and their soul away when you know what I mean. Like, I want a destroyer in defense, and that Varane's not that for me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying no to Varane. What I'm saying is I'm just sort of offering a different look at it as to why the partnership might like Vidic and Rio. Vidic was the destroyer. Rio was the Rolls Royce. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it needs someone who's tenacious in defence, and I don't think none of them are tenacious.
I think the thing with Maguire is, and we won't dwell on Maguire because I want to talk to you about other things as well, because you obviously your McFred combination is a concern for the Manchester United fans. But the thing with Maguire for me is that, yes, he carries the ball out really well. He's probably one of the best ball-playing central defenders in the league for that. It's good to see that he does that, and he often starts a lot of your attacks down the left-hand side when he finds himself in the opponent's half. Defensively, his starting position's pretty poor. For me, he doesn't see danger, and also when you're under set pieces,
does it?
No. And under set pieces, under his liability, he actually challenges your own players.
Whereas, if you look at Van Dijk, one thing that Van Dijk excels in is reading the game. He's very good at reading the game and anticipating, sniffing. Like, it doesn't need to be fast because he's anticipating danger. Like where a quote from Paolo Maldini once said, "If I've got to make the tackle, I've cocked up." And he doesn't anticipate danger for me enough.
100%. So I asked the panel last week, and I'll ask you. You've got to pick. You've got to pick Mac or Fred.
Come on!
Which one's? Come on! Play. You got to play the game.
Is this to leave or who you would have?
Who are you going to play? So you've got Varane, right? You've got Sancho. You've got the players you want in certain positions.
Yeah.
You can't afford a 6. You've got to go one or the other, and then I'll tell you what I said at the end of it.
Well, I would have to go with Fred because, in my opinion, McTominay shouldn't even be at a top 6 club. He's not good enough for a top 6 club. He shouldn't even be anywhere near Man United. Like, he's not getting anywhere near your squad. He's not getting anywhere near City squad. He's not getting a Chelsea squad. Why is he in our squad? And listen, I know, right? he's part of fixtures and fittings until he retires because he's had an endorsement. Listen, so I love Sir Alex with all my heart. Like the love I have for that man goes off the chart. But he got some stuff wrong. Like he's a human being still. And end of the day, he was wrong about Phil Jones. I believe he's wrong about McTominay, and he's also had an endorsement of Jose Mourinho. So when you've got Jose Mourinho and Alex Ferguson in your ear saying, "Nah, this guy's the real deal," Ollie's never ever going to get rid of him. And I've just as much as I want him out of the club, I kind of got to just accept it. So if it was up to me, Fred would be a squad player, and McTominay would be getting sold. But Ole is probably going to sell Fred, I imagine. And, well, actually, no, because he's used him a lot last season. I think they're both here to stay, actually, which is just shit.
Owen, what would you do, Mac or Fred?
I would go for McTominay. I think he's a bit more limited when it comes to his passing. Like he tends to just fire it at people's shins. He can carry the ball quite well, but I think he holds on to it for too long. But I'd say McTominay, he's more effective off the ball. He's more tenacious. He's better at a 50-50, and he's a bit more press resistant, I feel, in deeper areas on the ball. I see Fred get caught on it a bit more often than McTominay, so I'd say it slightly edges it. There was a question in from Big Ron as well, like, oh, would you be tempted to have either Fred or McTominay at Spurs? And I had to laugh because there's a guy at Spurs who not many people would even know about, who I think is probably already better than McTominay in Oliver Skipp. So I would say no to that in the sense that I would have Oliver Skipp probably better than McTominay now. And then I'd say Højbjerg is better than Fred. So yeah, I just wanted to answer that question with Big Ron because he's been active and I appreciate his energy in the chat.
No, that's a good chat. Well, I went with McTominay as well, and the reason why is he's 6'5". He's a bit more robust and a bit more physical than Fred is. I can't believe United paid £61 million for Fred. I just really don't understand that. That whoever did that needs dragging out the street.
You've got to look for value for money at the same time. It wasn't. Whereas McTominay's come through the academy, you do need a few mentality monsters in the club as well. Like as kind of right wing as that opinion can sound sometimes, like you do need it. And whereas McTominay, he came from the academy, Fred, does he represent value for money at 60 million plus? For me, like I don't think there's anyone that would agree.
When you've played Pogba, if Pogba stays, when Pogba's ever played with Fred, it's worked. When Pogba plays McTominay, it doesn't work. When McTominay plays with Fred, it doesn't work. McTominay is the denominator between everyone. He, in my opinion, to call a spade, is shit. He's shit, and he should not be anywhere near a top 6 club. Nowhere near him. Like, is technically limited, very limited. He gets bypassed like a traffic cone. I've seen it too many times. His passing range is not there. Don't get me wrong. He's got passion and design. He'll do knee slides and kiss the badge. He'll do all that for you. And he'll be a little nuisance. But I want technical, proficient players in my team. This is Man United we're talking about. We're not talking about Everton or lesser clubs. And I mean that respectfully. Don't mean that disrespectfully. But I want technically proficient football players in my team. Roy Keane was a passion merchant, but he was also technically gifted as well. He wasn't the best technical player, but he had a decent level. And this is where I'm drawn to Fred, because at least Fred's technically sound. Now his passing range isn't brilliant, and he's not really press resistant, but he's very good at breaking up play and interceptions.
But is he a 6, Johnny? Is he a 6?
No, he's not a 6. Listen,
because that's what you need. That's what you need.
Neither of them are 6ers. They're both box to boxes for me. But again, we're arguing about different shades of shit. Excuse my language. Do you know what I mean? Simple as that. One's a bit lighter than the other, but they both shouldn't be. I could have Fred as a squad player, but for me, he shouldn't be starting. But another side to this argument is that I don't really know how good or bad anyone truly is, because I believe our coaching staff is extremely inept and inadequate, and they're not getting the best out of the team. You only have to watch Man United play football. You watch 5 or 6 games in a row, you can tell it's very disjointed. Nothing's gelled. Like, the players are static. There's no movement. There's no patterns. There's no consistent patterns of play. So that boils down to the manager and coaching staff. So it's really hard to gauge a true reading on just how poor or good a particular player is.
No, I think that's very true. And I said before, as a rival fan sitting watching Manchester United, it's kind of like when we had some of our managers. I'm not going to liken Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to Roy Hodgson, but the end result's similar in that they don't know what they're doing with the players that they've got. If you got who would you want out of world football that's realistically available? Who comes in? I mean, realistically available. Who comes in and makes a difference?
I have to answer this in 2 ways. So my first suggestion would be Conte. Now that scares a lot of United fans because they think he's going to come in and rip the script up and start again. But the problem I've got is you're only 1 league title behind us now. You're 1 behind us, and I can't have Liverpool be leapfrogging us. I just can't have that happen. It was bad enough that he won league. I can't have that happen again. So we are desperate for somebody who knows exactly what he's doing and is going to win us a title within 2 years. Like, we need it. So on that basis, I'd want Conte. But if I had a bit more margin for error, a bit more room to breathe, I'd probably go for, I'd like maybe a Zidane, or, last year we nearly got Pochettino. I was devastated when we didn't get him. Absolutely devastated. I'd like a Ten Hag. I like Ten Hag too. I won't even be against Brendan Rodgers. I think Brendan Rodgers is a top manager. I think he did well at Celtic. He's done well at Leicester. He did a good job at Liverpool. He's got respect on his name. I like the football he plays. He's a very tactically astute coach. So yeah, anything like that. It has to be an attacking manager. But with the exception, and given the premise that I told you, would be Conte. And Conte is not exactly attacking, but he's not as pragmatic as people think. But that guy. He's like Mourinho 10 years ago. Like, he's winning everywhere he goes. So just to keep Liverpool at bay, I'd probably want Conte.
He credits himself with starting Juventus' dominance and ending Juventus' dominance. Because if you look at the first and last seasons, respectively, he did win the first of all of those titles with Juve, and he did stop them with the Inter side. Although bringing in Andrea Pirlo probably had as much to do with that as anything. If you're a Juve fan, you probably would agree. But to be fair, Conte would want shed loads of money, and let's be honest, there is shed loads of money at Manchester United. Although if you go and spend the money on Varane and a number 6, your debt based on those signings is up to £700-800 million, which is ridiculous. Do
you know what people are not realising? What people are not realising is we are literally 2 signings and a world-class manager away from our rivals starting to be scared of us again, be afraid of us again. We've got a really good. We haven't got a fantastic squad, but we've got a really good squad. We get that DM and we get that centre back, and you get a top class manager, and then Liverpool fans will start getting scared again. We can turn Man United back into the fortress it once was, because at minute, on a daily basis, I get Liverpool fans and Chelsea fans literally taking the piss out of me and wishing that Ollie stayed. That they want Ollie to get a lifetime contract.
We do.
They love him.
We do. We want them to do what Rio says. Give him a contract. Tell him to write a number on it. Let him stay forever because Ollie's at the wheel. Everybody can see that except for the board at Manchester United. It's insane, isn't it?
And it's the Ollie cultists can't see it neither. They're like, oh, why do you care what Liverpool fans fucking say? Well, like, it's just banter. No, it's not banter. You're not listening. Like, they really want Ollie. They love Ollie. They hated Fergie. Now, they respected him, but they hated him. He tortured him for 2 decades. They're glad he's gone. They want Ollie to stay. Like, what does that tell you? It's honestly, it's so frustrating. It really is.
Well, we knew that football moves in cycles, and obviously in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, it was Liverpool, and then in the mid 90s to sort of the late noughties, it was United. It moves in circles, doesn't it? So it's a difficult situation. You look at it and you think it's really hard to get back to the top. Mancini, someone's mentioned Mancini. I know he was over the road.
Yeah, that's another. He's another manager I'd take.
He'd come as well. He wouldn't be worried about the City connection. I think he would take the job if offered it.
Like, I want to like, if there's any happens to be United fans watching this, like, if you go back to like 2010 when Wenger were just about getting 2013-14 when Wenger was just getting ready to retire, we took the piss out of Arsenal for becoming a top 4 club under Wenger. We laughed at them. Now look where Arsenal are, and now look where we are. We have become what Arsenal was when we was in a position taking the piss out of them, and we are now Arsenal. Some of my fans are like bigging up getting consecutive top 4 finishes. I'm sorry. I'm not celebrating that. That's not the Man United standard. The Man United standard is the title and to be getting to serious inroads in Champions League. I don't care about no top 4. I don't care about that's not an achievement. And where I sort of the opinions diverges. I've separated Ollie the player from Ollie the manager. I've got my Ollie tinted glasses off ages ago, and I will not protect no man. I know he's a legend at club, but I will not protect him. At the end of the day, and I've said the next manager that comes in, he'll get the same manager. Whether it's Pochettino, I don't care who it is. If you don't deliver at Man United, you need to leave. You get a certain amount of time, and time is earned. Not given in life. Like you have to earn the time. You got to get little milestones along the way to prove to me and other United fans. Just same for your club, yeah. We have to maintain standards, and if you hit your milestones, you get these little ticks in boxes. Then confidence grows and respect is earned, and we start getting all the adulation and the praise. But the other way, if you're losing, Ollie's lost like 4 semi-finals, a Europa League final, kicked out Champions League group campaign, spent £350 million. Tell me another elite club in Europe that's going to accept that and tolerate that.
It's kind of strange. It is strange. It is strange. I don't think United know whether to stick or bust. It's in a difficult situation. I know you're a bit pressed for time. Thanks for your thoughts on Man United.
No problem.
Harry Kane to Manchester City. Rumours that they're going to sell Bernardo Silva and replace him with Jack Grealish. Where does that leave the rest of the Premier League, guys?
Worrying.
Think City will get. Yeah, Harry Kane. I think that there was obviously that front cover news article from the Sun. Apparently, Charlie Kane, who is Harry Kane's agent, has been gobbing off at a wedding, saying that that he still really wants to go. Like, to be honest, I'm one of the Spurs fans that lean towards letting him go because I think we've talked about it earlier, or it was in the pre-pods before we went live. Like he deserves the move. He is a player that needs to be challenging for the Champions League and for the Premier League. I think Johnny said it earlier. And realistically, we cannot offer that. We can't offer that even within like 2 years. We can't inspire him to stay. Do you know what I'm saying? Even like during last season, you could see his mentality start to become more uninspired. Especially as the season went on, as more and more players down tools on Mourinho, because he was very much a Mourinho loyalist, whereas all the other players down tools him, especially during the Zagreb game. And you see a normally unflappable Harry Kane, nothing really used to ever really bother him, to then in the final home game of the season, he's caught on camera saying, what's the fucking point? Like, that's just not Harry Kane. Like, I think it's a good time to sell him as well, given his age. I know he said to Gary Neville, like, yeah, my ankles aren't a problem. I tend to recover from them very quickly because I look after myself. But like, evidently, I do think his body is starting to deteriorate. I think that was a main thing for him at the Euros as well. Like he didn't get the support which he'd ideally would have wanted, but at the same time, he did look quite leggy. He very rarely has a summer off. Like he's either playing in an international tournament, he's had a long season at Spurs because we never really rest him. So yeah, with that age and with him deserving a move, just try and facilitate the move, Levy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear about holding out for like 150 mil and dragging it out like we did with Bale, like we did with Berbatov. Facilitate the move at maybe a price around like 120 million. I think that's fair. Given his age and given what Harry Kane's given to the club, he doesn't owe us anything. And hopefully,
another thing you've got to consider, right, is one is the trophy part of it, and wanting to win titles. But the other part, do you know how much money they're going to offer Kane compared to what Spurs can pay him? Like,
rumored 400k. Yeah, I mean, like, even without the money, I think it's just one of those. It's just a transfer that makes sense. I'm pleasantly surprised United aren't in this race, because I think that transfer makes more sense than, say, a Sancho for United. Like on top of a number 6, on top of a centre back, like a class number 9. I think Cavani does a very good job, to be fair, anyway. But a top class number 9 who could kind of drop in as a kind of number 10 and facilitate your kind of inside forwards like Rashford and Greenwood. that would have been a game changer for United. So I'm pleasantly surprised that they went for Sancho over, say, Kane. But yeah, even without the money, like we just can't inspire him to challenge for trophies here. And if he joins a team which are challenging for trophies, it just makes sense, money or not.
For me, he gets 50 goals a season at City. Again, we spoke about it briefly before we came online. City get around the back of people and pull the ball back. That's music to Harry Kane's ears. I think one of the things that City will do, and the rumour is it's 140 million transfer fee, £400,000 a week going to the player, which after tax is about £285,000 a week once he's paid his dues. They're buying him to try and win the Champions League. And if he delivers one Champions League with his goals,
it's worth it. It's worth it.
And another 2 Premier Leagues in the next 4 years, then that negates his transfer fee. Our club, Liverpool, would want to buy players that at some point we can get a little bit of return on investment. That's why we would never ever be in for a player like Harry Kane, because Manchester City do not need the money back from selling him at some point in the future. That's very much our business model. Manchester City can afford to buy him, play him for 4 years, and then say bye-bye and let him go and not worry about it. The trophies he might deliver, and I know he's not got a record of success. I know he's been around a club that hasn't won anything, but he's going to go and join a team of winners, and that will change his psychology and that will change his mentality because he'll have to.
Definitely.
So he suddenly becomes a very, very, even more dangerous proposition than he already is. I can't warm to the guy because his backing in thing he's doing where he's making players fall awkwardly. The shoulder on the side of the Arsenal guy's head when he's trying to clear the ball. I think there's a shit outside to Harry Kane. I don't like. He doesn't need to do it, and I can't warm to him. And I'd be disappointed if my club signed him because I don't like the moral fibre of the man. You should never, ever, ever put your fellow players' careers at risk with the things he's doing. So from that perspective,
do we not think every player does that though?
I don't know another player who backs in like that and makes centre halves land on the back of their shoulders.
I think there's a lot more emphasis on it because it's Harry Kane. To be honest, I see a lot. I see players do it every game. Like, to be fair, like to Kane, I couldn't turn around and say honestly, Kane's the only one that does that.
It only first got brought to my attention when it was highlighted with Kane, and since it got brought to my attention, I haven't really seen anybody else doing it. To be honest, like I haven't. Not that I'm looking for it, but it's not standing out. But when I have seen it, it's been highlighted on replay. I mean, it does look quite dangerous. It is quite dangerous.
Listen, it makes it sound like I'm pointing both barrels at Harry Kane. I have an issue with that. I played football and managed football at a reasonable level myself. I've seen players do things that they shouldn't do to other players. You know, if he did it to Adam Lallana and Adam Lallana came down really heavily, if Adam Lallana splits a disc or something in his back, that's his career over. That's a risk that shouldn't be allowed to make that happen. He never even tried to play the ball. What he did was get under him and spin him round and then put his arms up and get a free kick. And I know I'm saying that to you and there's a little wry smile on your face, but it isn't nice to see.
I kind of remember that challenge from Lallana. I'm pretty sure he jumped with like both of his knees up in Harry Kane's back, and he kind of felt that it was just like, I'm not letting you try and injure me like that, because there was no chance Lallana wins the ball in a genuine like 50-50 aerial challenge anyway. So I feel like Kane spun him just to try and avoid injury.
I don't want to get bogged down on it, but go and watch it again. Kane didn't even leave the floor, mate. He just scooted underneath Lallana and made him flip, made him spin, and then stood up and went like that with his arms as if to say, what could I do? Lallana's attempted jump was poor. Harry Kane doesn't need to rotate him when he's in the air, and he did.
I might be a bit biased against Lallana as well because he's been fighting some of our youth players when he was playing for. Well, he's coming back from injury for Liverpool.
Is
he was a bit of a brat. Yeah, he's. Sorry, Johnny.
Sorry. Is Lamella leaving? Lamella's leaving, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully it's not Fabrizio Romano official or something official yet, but it's pretty much all.
I've not had a chance to speak to any Spurs fans yet. I speak to a lot of Liverpool, Chelsea fans, and Arsenal actually, but not really Spurs fans. What's your thoughts on Nuno coming, and what's your expectations for next season?
Boy, I wasn't that excited for Nuno, to be honest. Like my main two choices for Spurs manager were Antonio Conte, which was a bit optimistic.
Honestly, so glad you did not get.
I still think if we actually turn around and Levy was to kind of bite on like bite down a little bit and accept Conte's demands, then because they wouldn't have been really too similar to what Jose Mourinho's demands are. The only difference is if Conte doesn't get what he wants, at least he resigns. Like, you don't even have to pay him off. Do you know what I mean? Like, and obviously he's not as pragmatic as people say. Like you said, Johnny, he's plays a 3 at the back, but he's got very modern kind of build of play and attacking ideas as well. And that's like Potter. And I feel like our team suits a kind of a progressive 3 at the back system because we don't have very good centre backs. They need protecting. We've got a very attack-minded fullbacks where we can get quite a lot of chance creation from. And we don't really have any traditional wingers either. Like, I think they're better off trying to be facilitated in the middle, like in a Conte system or a Graham Potter system. Like Lucas Moura, for example, not a traditional winger for me. Heung-min Son's not a traditional winger anymore. He's very much a kind of luxury centre forward. So with Nuno, I feel like he's a slightly more modern Mourinho in the sense that he tries to play a little bit more on the front foot. Like I watched a few of Nuno's games when he was in charge of Valencia a few weeks ago, when we had to be resigned to the fact we were hiring him, because I didn't necessarily want him based on the fact he's pretty much Mourinho without the trophies. He's very much on a game by game kind of game plan strategy. He doesn't really have a system in place, pretty much off the cuff, depending on the opposition, and he doesn't really kind of chase the game until a team goes 1-0 down. He doesn't really react that quickly to in-game situations. But when I was watching his Valencia team play, this is a Valencia team which got 4th in the league, had Mustafi and Otamendi as centre-backs. Didn't really play that defensively. They had a nice counter-press. Didn't necessarily like overly chase the game, but they were quite clever. They were a team which beat Real Madrid at home. So if he can bring that, then I'm optimistic. But generally, I'm quite pessimistic. It depends on how we do in the transfer window, but I can't imagine us doing better than top 6. If we can get the right players out in the window and sign 4 or 5 players that can hit the ground running, then we can get top 4, but that's out of reach. That's a big reach.
Yeah.
I think top 6 is a realistic aim.
I'll just answer this, and then we'll come back to you. I'll just answer Big Ron's comments, and then we'll come back to you because we'll close on Spurs. In terms of Liverpool, Mo Salah wants a contract. He's wanted a contract for 12 months now. Our wage bill is incentive based, and it goes from 190 to 320 million, depending on how well we do. So last year, the guys would have gone away without the bonuses, without the incentives. This season, they'll be hungry. Salah will be hungry. We're not going to suddenly turn around and give Salah the kind of money that Harry Kane earns, because once you do it with one player, you've got to do it with them all. So in terms of Salah, he will get an improved deal unless he wants to move, which I don't think he wants one now. 12 months ago, I thought he was agitating for a move. I thought he fancied going trying himself in Spain, but obviously we know there's problems in Spain right now in terms of finances for the big two. Henderson is an interesting one, and it's very similar to the Gini Wijnaldum situation. Henderson absolutely should have his contract extended, but it should be extended by 1 year with a further year as an option, but that option to be decided by the club and not the player. And the reason why is, to extend his contract, you've got to improve his terms. So he might be on 130, 140 grand a week. If you give him a new 3-year deal at 32 years old, how much and what does he contribute at the late 33, 34 and early 35? You could end up in a situation we did with Dirk Kuyt, where he was a great servant for the club, but ended up being 34 years old. The legs had gone. We were paying them a king's ransom and they weren't contributing. So that's the non-sentimental side of contract renewals.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to go, mate.
No worries, buddy.
I am at work, so I don't mean to be rude.
No, it's cool.
Appreciate you having me on, and thank you for the invitation. Great to meet you.
I will see you again, mate. We'll see you again. Absolutely. Thanks for coming. Appreciate that.
Guys,
take care, pal.
New to his channel, subscribe to his channel. Top guy, both of you, and support them both. And appreciate you. Thank you very much.
No worries, Johnny.
Later,
all right, pal. Have a good evening.
Bye bye.
Take care, man.
Yeah, so just to close on Liverpool, we can't get in a situation because we have got an old squad now. We've got a number of players sort of reaching the 30 points. It would be so unlike FSG to commit these players to 3-4 year contracts, get them all to 33, 34, be paying them 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 million pound a year. They won't do it. They run their clubs and their franchises like a trader's table. If there's no return on the investment, they just won't do it. So it wouldn't surprise me if Henderson doesn't get the renewal he's looking for. I'd be disappointed with that because his contribution to Liverpool Football Club in the last 2.5 years, particularly, has been immense. But we're not run as a football club anymore. We're running as a business, and that will be the deciding factor. And like it or not, Liverpool fans, it may happen. So I'd be gutted because it's not what we're about. We've always rewarded stalwarts and legends of the club. And when you win a Premier League and play in 2 Champions League finals, you've every right to call yourself a legend before you do the things that you do off the pitch that Henderson's done to galvanise English football and certainly, go against things like the Super League. He went in the face of the football club about the Super League. There's people suggesting that's the reason why this has happened. It isn't. It's an age thing, and it's no sentiment involved. It's purely a business transaction. So before we go, I'm going to just land a question on you now, Owen. Kane's gone. Just wait with me, humour me on this one. £140 million has been banked. Daniel Levy doesn't give you £140 million to spend because that's so not Daniel Levy, and Enoch wouldn't allow it anyway. So you give Nuno £90 million to spend, which means they bank £50 million, which, looking at Spurs' business model, sounds about right. Who'd you buy? Who'd you want for £90 million? What can you get that strengthens your team?
Am I limited to 90? Because I kind of look back when we sold Bale for that world record fee, we did invest every penny. However, I'll switch a little bit because I have 2 names in mind. I don't necessarily think we have to buy like 2 strikers. I think Danny Ings is someone we should be looking at, even if we didn't sell Kane. Resigned to the fact he's gone. Danny Ings is a must for me because he's in the last year of his contract now. He is, for intensive purposes, a very, very good striker. And I think he'd play very well with Son. I think he works in Nuno's system. And another thing, I think we should be a bit ambitious and try and go for Jack Grealish. Because I don't think City will sign both Kane and Grealish. I know they have the most powerful lawyers seemingly in the world when it comes to financial fair play. But I think them doing the whole Kane and Grealish job without necessarily, I don't think they're going to be able to get rid of as many players as I think they want to. So financial fair play, I think they'll be taking the piss doing it again. And Grealish has been flirting with us for years. And I don't know if he'll.
Okay.
I don't know if he was flirting with us because Kane's still there. However, yeah, I think Ings, Grealish, that would be perfect for us. Whether that exceeds the 90 million or not, I don't know, but I think we could get that done if we were on the front foot enough.
Okay, so I'm Jack Grealish. An offer comes in from Tottenham. I'm going to sit and look at that, and I'm going to weigh it up, and I'm going to think which is the better project. And this is a measure of where Spurs are right now. They're comparable because Aston Villa have got some of the richest owners in football. They're not a poor club by any stretch. If you listen to some of their podcasts, and I have, they've got massive plans as a fan base in the next 3 years to break into the top 6, top 4, season in, season out. So 2 years ago, Grealish to Spurs would have been a really good move for Jack Grealish. We don't know what Nuno's going to do at Spurs. We don't know how well Nuno's going to fit in at Spurs. We don't know what he's going to do with his centre-back problems because Toby Alderweireld will go down as one of the better central defenders the Premier League's seen. He would be in a top 25, top 30 for me because he's been brilliant.
He was at best last season as well.
And he's not young. And Davinson Sanchez has all the attributes to be a reasonably good centre half. He's got physicality. He's got pace. The guy's a unit. But he's also a liability. So you've got to spend some money in your back 3. If you're going to play with a back 3, you need one. Who's the one? Who's the one you would sign?
At the moment, I'm very excited for. I mean, we've got a deal which is essentially nearly done in Christian Romero. It's a weird deal because he's still technically, I think, half plays for Juventus, but he's got a term which means Atalanta can sign him for something like 30 million, and then we're going to sign him off Atalanta. On the eye test, he's a very aggressive front-footed defender, much of the profile of Sanchez, but he's better.
Yep.
He's tackle and interception stats are off the charts. He's not the tallest, but he's still very good in the air. He won MVP of Serie A as a centre back last year. I mean, given the amount of good centre backs in Serie A, I think that's very impressive. It is exciting for me, and he's just won the Copa America as well. So he's got that pedigree of winning a major trophy to aid that confidence in him. And if Paratici can get that done, I'm very excited about that signing. If not, if we were to look, I think we can again potentially go in for Milan Skriniar. Again, that Paratici, a new sporting director, for those who may not know, has still a lot of connections in Serie A. We failed to sign him last summer because they were essentially holding out for a bit more money, but they seem to be in financially a much worse position, even after selling Hakimi. So if we go back in, I think we can tempt him. It's just, I guess, about tempting the player over. But those would be my top two choices. Romero, though, I don't want to jinx it. Do you know what I mean? Because I've seen how our manager recruitment went. Like, we had a manager one day, then we didn't. We had a manager this day, we didn't. So yeah, Christian Romero seems like a very exciting prospect, though. So touch wood that gets done.
So for a little bit over the 90, you could get all three of the names you've just mentioned. You could buy Skriniar, you could buy Romero, and you could buy Ings, because Ings will be 20 because of his contractual situation.
That's right,
yeah. Skriniar will be 30, 35. I think Romero will probably be near 40. They'll want 10 million for broker in the deal, which seems absolutely ludicrous. I thought that type of thing was just for Raiola alone to have those types of fees and those types of figures out of deals. That would be interesting. I think that would make Spurs a very different proposition, because I think it's accepted. If you want to make yourself a good football team, the first thing you need to do is make yourself difficult to beat. And you can say Spurs haven't been that since the Champions League final. And you were right earlier on when you said Spurs got there with a bit of fortune. The game against Ajax, they got through that on euphoria alone. Once they started to score the goals, especially when the second goal went in, it's really difficult to fight that and combat that when you're in that position as an Ajax player. These are coming back. I've had my slippers and my cigar out for 15 minutes prior to the first goal when we were 3-0 up. It's very difficult to change the psychology of a footballer when they've got this idea in their mind that the game is won and there's nothing they can do. So I think that'd be really interesting signings. I think that would strengthen the side. I think your midfield's fine. I think your wide men in Son, and it would be more than likely, and would be really good. The Brian Gills guy who's going to come in to replace Lamela. I don't know too much about him. Tell me a little bit about him before we go.
Of course, he very much goes against the kind of Spanish grain as an attacking midfielder. He's not so much a passing combination player. He's a very direct running midfielder. I think he's going to suit play against like lower blocks. So if we're at home against like a Norwich or something like that, against maybe a bottom half team, he could come in and do well. However, I've got you'll like this as well as a Liverpool fan, but I get kind of Iago Aspas vibes off of him.
Yeah,
like he's clearly a player with ability, but I don't get the exactly. Well, we don't really even have corner takers at Spurs either, so that's Which I think he's a good prospect, and we've got a good business deal for him that we don't have to pay that much. We've got Lamela going out the other way, which I'm more excited about than anything. With Gil. Again, exciting prospect, good age, but I don't think he's gonna hit the ground running. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think he's gonna take a while to acclimatize and get used to Premier League and then start playing, because we're not even signing. Like, he plays primarily, or has been playing primarily, on the left in La Liga. So we're signing him to play on the right because we've got our left pretty much sorted with, I guess, Son or Bergwijn. We've been trying to nail down our right hand side for what feels like the longest time now, similar to Man United. So hopefully that works out. I'm going to trust the signing because for all intents and purposes, he is an improvement on Eric Lamela.
Yeah. Well, I don't know much about him. I think Eric Lamela's very hit and miss for me. Apart from a couple of Ramonas, which do look nice. To be fair, that goal was a bit special this year, but he could try that 20 times and not make contact 17. And I know he's done it before, and he's got a bit of a history for it. it is time to move him on now. I completely agree. Comment
he
on
nearly
screen.
had a testimonial, so yeah, we had to get rid.
Wow, imagine doing that. The comment on screen. I'm going to be interested in your reply, obviously, because it relates to my club as well, and I'll give you my thoughts on that once you've answered that.
I don't want to be harsh because I think he's one that performed well for Liverpool in the sense that he's a Liverpool lad, come through your academy, but I don't. He's not one that excites me, even though I would prefer. I do think Spurs do genuinely need a centre back with Premier League experience and pedigree. I don't think he quite has the pedigree for us because, I mean, at the same time, our bar is on the floor when it comes to the quality and expectation of our centre backs. But at the same time, that he doesn't improve us. I don't think he improves the centre backs we currently have, as bad as they are.
So, playing devil's advocate to that, if you're going to play a back three, he's perfect to sit in the middle of a back three because he is the most physical centre half we've had at our football club for a number of years. He will literally run through a wall to head a ball. He's a rock. He's a rock. He won his last 8 games as a Premier League centre back. We dropped 4 points in the last 10 games with him and Reece Williams as centre backs. He's a bit better than people give him credit for. It's not a bad shout that, if you're going to play a 3 and you're going to have, let's say you got Romero and you got Shearer, they're both a bit more mobile than he is, so they could play left and right of him. And then you've got Doherty on one side and Reguilon on the other side, who's tremendous going forward, but there are still question marks about him going in the opposite direction. That's not the worst suggestion in the world, because that guy's never let us down. And I'll tell you how the Liverpool fans think about him. If a bid comes in for Nat Phillips, as fans, we would like the club to say to him, you can move if you want to, or because of what you did for us last year, you can stay. We can't guarantee you first team football, but you'd be sort of 4th, 5th choice centre half at the football club, and you will play in cup games because we've now got more depth in terms. We've got 7 centre backs on the books at the moment, which, given what happened last year, seems incredible. That doesn't include Fabinho, who could play there and did play there well at times. It's not the worst suggestion in the world to play that guy in the middle of a 3. If I was looking to buy a centre back for £15 million to build a defence around, because I know he's going to stand up to every single ball that's put in that box, and has improved his game on the floor as well, and that Phillips wouldn't be the worst suggestion.
No, yeah, like I say, the
defenders
is on the floor. So if we were to sell Sanchez and Dier and Toby, because Toby wants to leave as well, right? And Dier and Sanchez have allegedly been told that they need to find a new club. And Sanchez is obviously he's already been offered in a make weight for a deal for Jules Koundé. I just don't think Jules Koundé would join us. If we need a body, I wouldn't turn my nose up here. I've got to kind of put my objective head on because I'm sounding like another one of our kind of snobby entitled Spurs fans because he isn't any worse than what we've currently got. But yeah, maybe in the middle of a 3, maybe he just doesn't suit my aesthetic for a defender. I want to see a defender who's like very good at like tidying on the ball. I think you need to be very technically proficient in the back 3 as well, because you're essentially having to move out of the defensive line in the build of play sometimes to make up the numbers in midfield. Yeah, I don't think he would suit us, but again, would I take him if we sold all 3 of those centre backs I named prior? Probably, because he can't really do any worse than what our centre backs were doing last year.
This is it.
Yeah, I've got to say he probably performed. He did actually. He performed better than most of our centre backs last year, bar Toby. So on that logic, yeah,
I get that you want more.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah. You've got a history of having footballers at your club, Glenn Hoddle, Paul Gascoigne. Paul Gascoigne's one of my all-time favourite players. What a player that was. You go back even further, Ricardo Villa and Ozzy Ardiles. Go back even further again, Jimmy Greaves. You look at all these guys who've instilled heritage in your football club of being footballers. So I get that. Glenn Hoddle was a silky footballer. His passing range was ridiculous. Paul Gascoigne was just absolutely insane. Just found it easy to go past people. Had the X factor. Had no right to be as quick as he was, given his physique. Didn't look after himself clearly, but was a magnificent footballer. And it's a shame. How many times have we said these mercurial footballers have got something missing in terms of the psychology of it all? Paul Gascoigne could have been anything he wanted to be as a footballer. So I understand as a Spurs fan when you say Nat Phillips, you kind of, oh, no. It's all right, leave Doe him because he's not a sexy footballer. You guys have become accustomed to a decent standard of football down there. You had Clive Allen, Gary Lineker. I could sit here and name names all night about players who were. Even Paul Stewart was very good for Spurs before we signed him, and then he fell off the radar. And there are footballers that belong at certain teams that don't make it elsewhere. So, and he's one of them. But it's been really good to talk to you. Thank you for coming on the show. We'll 100% have you back again. What I will do is
a pleasure. So
what we'll do as the season goes on is every now and then I'll pull a couple of people in like you and Jack, and we'll talk about Spurs, and I'll just fire loads of questions at you and get your responses, and we'll have a bit of a chin wag, and I'll do the same with the other clubs. You're a bit more philosophical than Jack. Jack's quite defeatist at the moment, but love him to bits anyway. I can't wait to see him back on the pod because I do enjoy spending time with Jack. But thank you. It's been really good having you on. Knowledgeable guy. Interacted well with our other guests, so it's been good for me to spend some time with you guys this evening. It's nearly an hour. Where's that gone? You're having a good time when an hour goes by and you're not really watching the clock. But as I say, we will have you back. We will do a sort of a half-term report at some point in the season about where Spurs are at, and we'll review the things we've spoken about tonight. I quite like Spurs. I've got to be honest. I don't have a problem with Spurs.
So we're just a club that they're there.
No. Ray Clements went there, didn't he? And I had a lot of time for Ray Clements as a goalkeeper and as a Liverpool legend. So, do you know what? I hope Spurs do okay. I really do. I don't think they're a threat to the top four, but it's not good for English football to see Spurs wallowing in 8th, 9th, 10th place, and Arsenal wallowing in 8th, 9th, 10th place. That's not good for our game. That's kind of.
Speak for yourself. I like Arsenal wallowing down.
I know. Well, that's just banter, that is, isn't it? And I'd like to see Everton in 10th, 11th, 12th place. We do that because they're our local rivals. But if you look at English football, those are the clubs that have been successful and been in the upper echelons in the years gone by. You wouldn't want to see the Milan teams floundering in Serie A. It would take a lot away from the competition, and I think there's a potential for that to be the case, certainly with the Premier League. But I genuinely hope that you guys get some decent money for Kane if he goes, and you invest it well. Just hope they don't sell Nuno short by saying there's 40 million and that's it, because there's a danger they'll do that, and that would be a worry, and that will make people like Jack really, really unhappy.
Yeah, Jack wants Order 66 as it is. If you don't get that, that's a Star Wars reference for just anarchy. All out anarchy. I've got to trust the ball because, like I said earlier, we reinvested all the Bale money when we sold him. So hopefully, with us sorting out our finances and repaying that Bank of England loan back, we've got the fans back. There's no reason why we have to withhold any of this Kane money. So long may we continue. Hopefully, I'll get in before the transfer window shuts, and we'll see how optimistic I am then.
Just before you go, tell us what you've got coming up. Obviously, you've got your own channel. Talk to us about where we can find you, where people who've enjoyed listening to you can follow you. I know I will, or I already do, but just tell us what you're up to.
Yeah, so we've got a show under the Touchline Media Group, which is Touchline Fracas. We've got a community where there's like a main podcast which talks about all football, and then there's dedicated football club podcasts. So there's a United one, there's a Liverpool one for yourself. Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, and finally with my Twitter handle there, we've got the Spurs one, which I'm a big part of. We've got all different types of perspectives and analytical conversation. It's always a good laugh as well. So yeah, feel free to check us out there.
Absolutely, and we'll do some more collaborations as the season goes on. You know, I do something here, and I do something on another channel. But you know, I'm good to collaborate at any point with anyone.
Yeah,
so,
we'd love to have you on in the build up for a Liverpool game for sure.
Well, give me a shout. I'll 100% be there. So thanks to the guys who are in the comments. These shows don't work without people in the comments. They keep the energy up. Big shout out to Big Ron, who would have worn his keyboard out. Big Ron, you are a legend. You wore your keyboard out for the love of the show tonight. So thanks very much. And thanks for Usman for giving us the platform to have a chat with yourself and Johnny, who I thought was a decent guest. We've got a lot of good content out of both of you. It's amazing what you can do with 3 people. I thought it was really good. And again, thanks for coming, and I'll speak to you soon, mate.
Speak to you soon, brother. Take care.
Take care.